IPO alert!
There's a number of high-profile IPOs still slated for 2020. Airbnb, DoorDash, Robinhood, Poshmark, Wish, and Qualtrics, to name a few. Which one are you most excited about and why? Jenny, kick us off.
All right, Airbnb was already positioning itself in protection mode in May amidst the pandemic when it laid off 25% of its workforce and raised $1 billion to shore up its finances. Rentals reached record levels at 1 million bookings in July when COVID regulations started easing. So they put tons of safety policies into play. Rentals in the off the beaten path destinations have been very trendy, and people are choosing Airbnbs for seclusion and privacy over hotels with hundreds of people. The company is a strong brand and a dominant leadership position, especially since management has shown its ability to change and adapt throughout COVID. And to be honest, they tapped into a whole new market of peeps during the pandemic, aka myself. I never thought my dream vacation would be a road trip to a tiny cottage in Rhode Island, but thank you Airbnb for the opportunity.
Big supporter of Airbnb as well. Kate, what are you thinking?
So on a personal note, I'm most excited to see DoorDash IPO. Before going into venture, I spent about 5 years at Uber, and 4 of those were on Uber Eats. So I'm personally super excited to get a deeper dive into DoorDash's financials, see how they've been pulling off unit economics. They're obviously always one of our best competitors. On a broader note, they've obviously experienced some great tailwinds from COVID, and I'm really excited to see what a standalone delivery business post-COVID world looks like on the public markets.
All right. Natalie, which IPO excites you?
Yeah, so for me, it's a tie between Airbnb and Robinhood, largely because I think these two have been the most transformational in changing consumer behavior. But for the sake of this, going to choose Robinhood. 1, super early adopter. 2, could have been one of their first 50 employees. That might have been a mistake on my part. And 3rd, I think there's just a really kind of fun story that this company that was first positioned to disrupt Wall Street is now joining Wall Street as a public company. But here you have a company that, had 1 million users in 2016. 2 years later, they're at 6 million users. Now in 2020, that they're over 13 million users. I mean, it's really an amazing growth story. And when you look at their users, about half of them are opening their brokerage account for the first time. And so it's an incredible growth story. I want to know more about their secret sauce. I want to see that S1 and learn what they're up to.
All right. Caitlin, what do you think?
So I think I'm gonna go with Jenny. I'm a big fan of Airbnb. At Lerer, Hippeau, we invest in a lot of brands, and in my mind, Airbnb is the world's first global hospitality brand. I think they have something like 7 million bookings on their platform, which is, I think, 3 million more if you combine Intercontinental, Marriott, Hyatt, kind of like these big brands that are just kind of old, lazy legacy incumbents. So I'm most excited about Airbnb. I think they're the future of hospitality. I think it's a very millennial, Gen Z centric brand. And it's an amazing marketplace that has done incredibly well. The S1 was actually written before COVID hit. I think they were actually going to IPO at some point in March. So I've been waiting with bated breath to see that S1. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I was just excited to hear your answer so I could actually use that information on Robinhood. Any of you investors on Robinhood?
I'm actually pretty anti-Robinhood.
Oh, all right.
Natalie.
That's okay. You can be anti.
Can I share why?
Yes.
Is this an appropriate time to share why? So I am on Robinhood. I like Robinhood. I think it's pretty interesting, but they've had a really dark underbelly. I think they have not managed kind of user expectations well. Unfortunately, there have been some suicides driven by presumed losses from teenagers. It's made retail investing way too accessible for way too many people. There's a reason that it takes a couple hoops to go through. I think secondarily, they have terrible customer service. From what I can tell, there have been a handful of security breaches. There's been a handful of notifications that have gone out to users saying, hey, your money has been transferred out, and they can't access it. And when you call Robinhood or you email Robinhood, they say, hey, hands up, we'll get to this in 3 to 4 weeks. I don't think that they're going to IPO this year. I don't think that they're ready to IPO, and they have a long way to go in terms of being what I perceive to be a healthy, sustainable company. But I do, I plan on it.
Totally.
Before we move on, Natalie, you got a rebuttal to that?
No, I think that Caitlin brings up a lot of points, but I want to know that underbelly. I feel like there's been so much attention and scandals that have followed Robinhood, but we frankly don't have that much information about it. It seems like a lot of it is quite speculative. So I'm with you. Like, there's some shady parts, but there's also, I think, some wonderful parts that people who would have never had access to financial services are now using Robinhood. I just want more information to really understand what that underbelly looks like.
I guess the question is, what are you most excited about? And I think that actually is a pretty exciting one to learn a lot more about.
Thanks for watching Primetime VC. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Primetime VC, and check out the new podcast with the audio extracts of the entire show. Thanks a lot.